to make sure that I'm using the strength in my arms to help my legs come back up and together, because over time the muscles relax so much that it's a little hard to engage them again. Today I'm showing you a powerful reset that's good for after a long day of work or just if you need to unwind, and it's also a great practice if you're in the middle of your menstrual cycle and you're not really supposed to be doing asana. So this is a nice alternative. And so we're going to get right into it because it requires a bit of propping, and so I want to give you time to do that. So the first thing you'll need is a bolster like this one, or you can use a chair cushion, couch cushion, or a couple of folded blankets. The other thing you're going to need is either a nice thick blanket that's rolled up in a coil like this one, which I'll put down here for now, or you can use yoga blocks. But the only thing about yoga blocks, and you'll need 2 of them, is that they're generally pretty hard. Even these cork ones are kind of hard if you're laying in the position for a few minutes, which generally this is a 5 to 8 minute pose. If you only have blocks though, just use something maybe on top, a blanket or something soft on top of those. And the other alternative is that you could use some pillows. I'm going to set this here so I can show you where to put the block, but I'll be using the blanket today. And then another prop you'll need is just a thin blanket. You can actually even use a rolled up washcloth or a rolled up hand towel. And this is just to fill that space behind your neck. So I'll put it here so that when I lay down to show you what this looks like, my neck will land right on that soft roll. And then finally, a blanket to cover yourself up with. This is especially good if you are Vata dosha and need just a little bit of extra heat, or if you need something that just provides some weight so that you feel secure under a weighted blanket. But let me show you what this looks like. So you can lay the bolster the long way on your mat and then sit your seat right at the very bottom edge of that bolster. So the bottom of the bolster is touching your sacrum. And then you can come into your first version of butterfly pose. Now you can see my knees are pretty high. So this bolster, this rolled blanket might not be enough for me today. So in that case, I can take a yoga block and place it just underneath the thigh, just to have a place for your thigh to land. You don't want any of your extremities hanging out in space when you're in a restorative pose, because you're in for a while and your muscles will eventually relax, and sometimes they start to pull a little bit more than you really want them to at that point. So that's what we'll do here. And then the first thing I do is just try to find length in my spine. So I press through my hands and lengthen the spine, giving myself support as I start to lower down. So I'm just supporting myself the whole way down till the very end, and then I can reach under and roll that blanket so it's just enough for my neck. Don't want to have the blanket so high that your chin is dipping toward your chest, but rather a more neutral position. From there, you can readjust the props that are underneath your legs. If you were using a blanket to cover up, you would cover up now. And then you can reach the arms out, but allow the elbows to come in. So we're not suspending the arms in the air, but rather you have a place for the elbows to rest, so that you have a nice chest opening without straining the arms. Because this is a pose that you'll hold for a while, you want to make sure that you're comfortable. So the first thing is to check in. And generally, where you might feel discomfort, is in a few places. The first one may be in your low back. So if your bolster is too high, or if you're just not up for a back bend, or the back bend that you've set yourself up for, you want to bring your knees together, lift your hips off the floor, and lengthen the tailbone, lengthen the lower spine, and then lower back down, so that the back of the pelvis is a little bit closer to flat on the floor. It won't quite make it there, but close to that. And then you can bring your legs back into the butterfly position. So what we'll do is just take a few moments, take a few breaths resting here. Hopefully by now you've found your props and you've set yourself up. So as you're resting here, and I'm going to come back up to sitting so that you could see me, but I wanted you to see the sideways angle of this pose. But stay in your butterfly pose for now while I'm talking through it. So as you're resting here, you want to really focus on the exhale, having a smooth and even breath, but the exhale is going to be important for this pose because this pose focuses on Upon Vayu, which is the energy, the air that moves in our body, that moves down and out. So the pose invites that energy to be more active in the body, and that's why it's a good one to use during menses. And so as you're resting here, just feel the release a little bit more fully. So it doesn't mean breathing longer on your exhale. It just means to let go of any holdings that you may have, any tension that may be gathered in the body. Breathe a full and relaxed breath. And invite yourself to open to this pose. There are a lot of openings happening. There's an opening across the chest. There's an opening of the thighs out to the side. And then there's the opening and releasing of that Upon Vayu, that activating of that energy. Invite the breath to fill your belly, the front of your belly, the sides of your belly. Invite every inhale to be nourishing and each exhale to be a release, a cleansing. I generally like to set a timer for this pose because I can tend to fall asleep in it. It's very comfortable. So you may want to set a timer for 3 minutes to start with, and then the next time you practice about 5, up to about 8 minutes. After that, I find that I tend to just fall asleep, so it's better to come out of the pose, reset, and then go back in if you really need another round of it. This pose can do a lot. It is a truly powerful reset for a number of reasons, mostly the openings that are an antidote to the way that we sit every day, the way we might round forward in our chairs, or also just the way that the body tends to curl inward over time. So enjoy this, and when you're ready to come out, just do that slowly. I'll show you the way out, but first, let me get some props out of my way. So if I were in the pose, I would take a moment to make sure that I'm using the strength in my arms to help my legs come back up and together, because over time the muscles relax so much that it's a little hard to engage them again. And then do a counter pose. You may be able to see this if I move the block. Do a counter pose by bringing your knees to touch and your feet about as wide as the sticky mat, and rest there for a few moments, even bringing your hands to rest on your belly, so that you have a way for your body to reset in the opposite direction for a few breaths. And then when you're finally ready to come back up and out of the pose, roll to one side, supporting yourself so that you can ease yourself off of that bolster. And then slowly work yourself up. And you can come to an easy seat, or you can come into thunderbolt pose, just sitting back on your heels. So that is the pose for today, our pose tutorial. We have many more tutorials on HI Online. If you're a mission member, you can watch them at any point. And if you're watching this as a community member, this practice is up for a few days, like all of our practices, and then it goes behind a paywall, which you should give mission membership a try, because it's only, you can try for 14 days for free, and it's really worth it. We have over 900 posts available for you to watch. Many of them are yoga classes, yoga poses, philosophy of yoga, and much more. So please come back, see us again, and thank you for joining us today.